where the blade was truth, where kingdoms burned, and memory walks in armor still. This is Iron and Ash, the horn before the clash, before the oath is tested, before the sword swings. There is sound, not language, not music, something older. A call, a warning, a summoning. The horn. It is the first signal, the earliest system. A breath turned into alarm. A warning passed mouth to mountain. It was the voice of prelude, a declaration that the moment had arrived. In the beginning, before cities had walls, before kings had courts, there was the horn, bone or brass, clay or curled, lifted to mouth and blown across valley and fear. The horn meant ready. The horn meant gather. The horn meant now. It pierced through fog, climbed over mountains. It reached ears before vision could confirm. Before you could see the enemy, you felt the sound. To blow the horn was to wake the world. The Norse had the Gjallarhorn, a mythic sound so great it would be heard across all worlds. Ragnarok began with a note. The end of all things was preceded by sound. The horn was not alarm. It was prophecy. The Romans had the buccina, a curved brass trumpet to signal formation, retreat, march. Orders were embedded in tone. The army didn't move on sight. It moved on sound. In medieval Europe, the warhorn was a message you didn't mistake. It was the voice of the unseen. From towers to valleys, a single horn could ignite an army. A note could send arrows flying. A tone could break rank. In the highlands, bagpipes were a weapon in themselves. They filled the valley with a sound that said, "We are coming." They made fear arrive before flesh. Marches began not with footsteps, but with notes. In Africa, in Asia, in every step and jungle and hill, there was always something that could be blown, held high, and sounded. The shape varied. The purpose did not. The horn was not music. It was movement. It was signal. It was punctuation to silence. The line between calm and command. The border between peace and intention. You didn't blow it to express. You blew it to command, to change state, to make the atmosphere itself lean forward, to summon the hunt, to warn the village, to tell the dead to listen, to scare the enemy before they cross the hill. And always, to announce the moment has come. In castles, the watchmen had horns for invasion. In ships, the lookout blew when land or enemy broke horizon. In caravans, trumpets meant ambush. The horn was a tool of narrative. It began chapters. The horn was the thread between silence and war, between normal and never again, between dusk and ruin. It marked the crossing. The moment became irreversible. In the Battle of Hastings, sound misled. A rumor of retreat, signaled, misunderstood, broke formations, turned tides. The air lies too when sound is strategy. At Agincourt, trumpets split the mist. They told the longbowmen when to loose. They signaled the French charge. History remembers Henry's speech, but sound carried the command. In the American Civil War, cavalry horns and drums carried through smoke. Orders were often inaudible, but the notes were pre-written into memory. The horn also changed form. It wasn't always blown. Sometimes it carried. The powder horn, curved from cattle or ram, was slung at the waist. A container for gunpowder, the same shape, the same role. It still prepared you for the fight. Where once it carried breath, now it carried fire. The horn, now flammable. In early American frontiers, every marksman carried a powder horn. Decorated, carved, inscribed with names or prayers, the horn became a talisman, an extension of the self. The signal had become storage, but the meaning remained. And then, in the 20th century, sound became technology. The horn took on wires and speakers. In Vietnam, U.S. helicopters blasted Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries over tree lines. It wasn't tactical. It was psychological. The sound came before the gunfire. The horn, now symphonic. At Waco, the FBI used butt heavy metal and looped screams as sonic pressure, not to inform, to Santiago. The horn is siege. Volume is vice. A horn that didn't announce war, but enforced surrender. In enhanced interrogation, music is weaponized. Non-stop noise, relentless horns, infinite loops, until the self breaks. What began as breath through bone is now algorithmic agony. But it is still the horn. Sirens. Alarms. Phones. Every alert is a descendant. A call that pulls you from dream to action. A voice that doesn't ask. It commands. And in the modern world, the horn has become daily doctrine. Police sirens split city air like a blade. Fire engines roar down highways with sound as clearance. Ambulance sirens don't just alert, they beg. Every wail is both urgency and authority. The horn now signals life in the balance. First responders move through sound. Hospitals prepare before they see. Drivers pull over not from law, but from the overwhelming force of volume. The siren is today's war horn. Not to begin battle, but to bend space. To say this matters more than anything else. To say make way. To say now, because the horn was never about the note. It was about the change. It is the last moment before commitment. It is the sound of crossing a line. The horn is not a relic. We still use it. In sirens. In alarms. In the bleed of systems made to wake us. In war rooms. In launch zones. In countdowns. It waits now too, on shelves and halls and stories, silent until needed. The horn doesn't fade. It pauses. Because some sounds don't disappear. They hide. They echo. Still held. Still loud. Still calling. Still terrifying. Just beneath the ash.